Today, we're heading deep into the mountains of Appalachia, tracing a history that was rarely, if ever, written down, but was absolutely critical for survival. This is all about the community healers, the keepers of old-time remedies whose work literally shaped generations, but often just vanished from the official record. This quote just really sets the scene, doesn't it? Picture this: knowledge about remedies, about care. It wasn't passed down in textbooks, nope. It was shared across porches, in kitchens, by the fireside. It was a living, breathing tradition, carried in apron pockets and in the memories of those who knew the woods as well as they knew their own family. And that brings us to the big question. If these healers weren't often listed in the census, if their life's work wasn't logged in some dusty courthouse ledger, how in the world do we find them? It's a real genealogical mystery, and today we're going to start uncovering the clues. Okay, so first things first, who exactly were these figures? Let's get a really clear picture of their role in the world that they lived in. You see, Appalachian healing wasn't just one single isolated thing. It was this rich, incredible blend, a true cultural interweaving. You had Scots-Irish folk practices meeting indigenous, especially Cherokee knowledge of all the local plants. And then you also had African-American herbal traditions and root working contributing to this powerful, practical mosaic of care. Just amazing. These healers, they went by a lot of different names. You might hear granny women, herb doctors, or midwives, but they all shared one absolutely crucial role. They were the backbone of healthcare. In these remote hollows where the nearest doctor could be a day's journey away or longer, these were the people you turned to for pretty much everything. And this chart really shows you why they were so vital. I mean, look at this gap in the early 20th century. In places like eastern Kentucky, traditional midwives vastly outnumbered physicians. It's not even close. The formal medical system, well, it just hadn't reached these communities yet. And even when amazing groups like the Frontier Nursing Service began their work in 1923, traditional healers still remained the first and often the only line of defense for countless families. And let's be clear, this was not guesswork. The use of plants like ginseng for energy, yarrow to help stop bleeding, or elderberry for colds, this was all part of a disciplined, well-documented tradition. These weren't just some mystical improvisations. This was practical, plant-based medicine, passed down with real care and precision. So, we know these healers existed, and we know they were absolutely essential. Now, let's get to the really fun part, the detective work. How can you, as a genealogist or family historian, actually find evidence of them in your own family line? All right, here we go. Here are 6 key paths you can follow. Starting around the 1910s, a lot of states began requiring midwives to register, and that created an invaluable paper trail. You've also got to look in unexpected places, like a doctor's old ledger where he might have noted that a family had already tried roots. The WPA interviews from the 30s, a total gold mine of oral history. And of course, check those family Bibles, old newspapers, and even church records. The clues are out there. Let's make this real. To show you how all these pieces can come together and what you might just discover in your own research, we're going to look at the story of a midwife named Sarah Collins from Western North Carolina. Our story starts right here, with this beautiful memory captured decades later in a Works Progress Administration interview. This one sentence gives us her name and her reputation. It brings Sarah to life, right? It describes her skill with herbal remedies, like willow bark, which is a natural source of aspirin's key ingredient, and her gentle, calming touch as a caregiver. So the first piece of physical evidence wasn't in a courthouse. It was tucked away right inside the family's own Bible. Here, in the margins of the genealogy pages, were the records of the births she attended. This is just a classic example of how these private, domestic records can hold the key to a person's public legacy. Then you have the WPA interview we just saw. Now, this is so important because it backs up the private record with a public one. It's an outside voice confirming what the family already knew, and it cements her role not just within her own kin, but across the entire community. And finally, here's the official link. Her great-grandson, digging through county health records, actually found her. And there she was, right in the midwife registry, Sarah Collins, age 48. The record even noted she was trained by her aunt. That's that hand-to-hand inheritance we talked about. And that she officially served 3 districts. The quiet lineage was finally on the public record. You see how it works: a personal record from a Bible, a community memory from an interview, and an official document from the county. 3 completely different fragments that, when you connect them, restore the full, vivid portrait of this incredible woman. Her vital work, which never ever would have shown up on a census form, was finally pieced back together. So, this kind of research, it's so much more than just filling in a blank on the family tree. It really uncovers a whole new dimension of our history. So, why does tracing this quiet lineage truly matter so much? Well, it matters because these healers sustained their communities through unbelievably difficult times. Their knowledge embodied resilience and that beautiful cultural blending we talked about earlier. By finding them, we reveal a hidden side of our own family stories. And, maybe most importantly, we get to honor these quiet experts who stood in that gap between hardship and healing. And this, right here, is the crucial takeaway. We so often focus on the names on our family tree, that direct line of descent, but our history was just as profoundly shaped by the people who kept those ancestors alive, the ones who delivered the babies, mended the wounds, and shared the remedies. So, I'll leave you with this question. As you start to look into your own family's past, what hidden stories of healing might be waiting there to be discovered? What traditions, what records, what whispered inheritances have you found?